The Financial Times reporting that China's internet regulator has ordered tech giants like ByteDance and Alibaba to stop buying Nvidia AI chips and cancel existing orders. That includes for a new China-only chip that Nvidia had put together. Nvidia just making some comments on those reports in a news conference. The CEO, Jensen Huang, saying, "We can only be in service of a market if a country wants us to be." He said they continue to be supportive of the Chinese government and Chinese companies as they wish. Joining us right now to talk about this, TikTok and other technology stories is Toney, Plexo Capital's founding managing partner and a CNBC contributor. And there's a lot of kind of stories that are whirling around this entire U.S. China relationship right now. TikTok is this, the Nvidia story is this. What do you think of this as an investor?
Well, this is an exciting week. I guess we have, monetary policy here domestically and geopolitical policy abroad. And the TikTok deal could be a blueprint for how we can thaw those tense relationships. Maybe, like to your point, China's holding on to a pun intended chip by doing what they're doing to restrict some of the chips from Nvidia. So we shall see. But I do think that...
It's like it's all on the bargaining table.
Exactly. That's exactly where we are. Everything is on the bargaining table. And I think ultimately what we'll see is a new path forward to potentially ease those relationships a little bit.
What do you do in the meantime? Like, how do you play this? How do you figure it out? It's confusing, but do you think we're headed in one direction where maybe we get an opener relationship? Is that kind of your...
Yeah, I look at the TikTok deal, and although they haven't announced all of the details...
We don't know the details yet, and I think there could still be some disagreement between the two sides, and then trying to get that to Congress and say, okay, does this satisfy everything that Congress put forth in the law?
And I think, but ultimately, I think this administration is very deal-oriented and wants to see a deal on the table. I think we are seeing indications of that just by virtue of what's happening with TikTok. And I do believe that there will be some easing. And I think once those details come out from the TikTok deal, what we will see is that it's an opportunity for a little bit of face saving as well, right? And so, this opening up a little bit to the idea that we can actually house some of the data here. I think, to your point, the algorithm probably won't be fully exposed.
But I think that's the biggest question. That's what the congressional intent was all about, the algorithm, and not allowing foreign entities to have such sway over the American public, particularly the American youth.
Yes.
So as you see it, though, this is leadership for tech still continues in the markets?
I think so. Yeah, absolutely. When you think about interest rates, a lot of that has already been priced into the big tech companies. When you think about the movement of interest rates and how that impacts stocks, tech stocks are typically the most volatile on the increase or the rise of interest rates or the decrease, because there's very long-lived cash flows for tech. And so those so far out, when interest rates come down, those become more valuable. And when interest rates go up, you see the tech stocks get hit first, typically.
Jenny Jones was here from Franklin Templeton earlier. Johnson was here from Franklin Templeton earlier. And she pointed out this idea that there's going to be a lot of tailwinds pushing stocks higher next year. The tax code, for one, and then these Fed cuts that are priced in, too. It seems like it'd be hard to bet against some of those things.
I think so, for two reasons. Number one, I think that's right. The whole macro trend is very favorable for tech in general. But then you also just have the massive momentum of the adoption that we're seeing with AI in particular, which is really driving at both the infrastructure layer, which we see with stocks like Nvidia, but then also at the model layer, obviously, Anthropic, OpenAI, and then applications. I saw you using Perplexity earlier. So I think, all of that stack is going to benefit the more we see adoption, not only at the consumer, but probably more importantly at the enterprise level as well.
So do we want China to really be good at AI, or are they going to be no matter what? Will they get it from us anyway? Is it enough of a... to NVIDIA's bottom line, do we want China to be able to buy NVIDIA chips at the risk of them leading the world?
Your first question, I think, is the key question.
Do we
want them to see? Because we formerly used to think of the ability for American firms to dominate so that we could hold our space in the economic pecking order. But now I believe that policy is very important for us to America to maintain leadership as well. It's also a policy decision. Like it's a national defense issue.
Is there any way to stop them? I mean,
well, there's no way to stop them. I think the ultimate thing for us to do is to have policies in place that allow us to most effectively compete. And I think that's what we're starting to see the shift. The worry has always been that we go back to what happened with the internet, where it was very difficult because the policy was always lagging the innovation. We'll continue to see that, but my hope is that the lawmakers have gotten a lot smarter and understand they're never going to be able to have policy ahead. So sometimes the best thing to do is more of a laissez-faire situation, especially given, I think, the increasing importance of technologies like AI to our national defense.
But then you have something, right, that is so important that a laissez-faire attitude with that seems like the wrong way to go with some of these issues. We've had laissez-faire with social media networks, and now we're blaming social media for a lot of the violence that's here in this country.
And I think there's a good balance that has to happen, right? I think what you need is the ability for policies to allow companies to compete, while at the same time realizing that there are real consequences if we don't monitor what's happening. And I don't think that, I think there's an ability for those two to exist together.